Hey guys, it is me, Tanya, founder of the TNG Designs Group Limited. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Now in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to represent your brand in an interview. Now, you're probably thinking, Tan, it's an interview. Why don't I even need to know about this? Well, believe me, yes, you do need to know, because you'll be surprised at how many people I've spoken to who have actually come away from an interview and realized that they haven't even touched base on the key things that they actually wanted to speak about in the first place. So, that being said, before you get stuck into this particular video, please make sure that you go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel, because I love sharing information like this and I want to make sure that as many people as possible go ahead and literally get the goods as to what I do share. And specifically, when you do go ahead and subscribe, it actually means that, you know what, you're upping my levels of support, and that's what I want to thank you in advance for. And specifically, thank you for watching this video in the first place. And also, please make sure that you go ahead and share this specific channel with all like-minded others who you feel could really get the benefits as to what I continuously share on this platform. That being said, folks, before we get stuck into this video, please make sure you go ahead and stick to the very end, because as always, I've got a super cool gift from me to you, and I want to make sure that you are actually taking advantage of it, because you can actually use it today rather than waiting a month, rather than waiting a week or whatever it may be. No, you can go ahead and use it today, right here, right now. So folks, without further ado, let's get stuck into it. So, okay, as I said, we're going to be talking about the idea as to how to make sure that you're representing your brand in an interview. Okay, now, typical commonalities. One of the reasons why I wanted to pull this video together is because there are so many people that, as I said before, I've come across, and they've said, you know what, Tan, oh my gosh, really cool interview, but I don't actually think they actually know who I was, number one, but that's more so on a bad form on the interviewer's side. Number two, I don't actually think I came away with leaving information that I really wanted to talk about on that particular platform. So that being said, I shared with them a few pointers, and this is something that they've gone ahead and taken away, and now they have they're equipped with information to always make sure that they touch base on in any kind of interview. And more specifically, folks, if you've ever have been in an interview and you felt like your interviewer has steered the conversation in a way that you really didn't want to take it down, number one, but number two, maybe it's perhaps they've steered it in a way that's led from the purpose, from your vision, from your mission, and it's distracted that focus. This is how you make sure that you keep the focus, by addressing these 3 key points, or even 4 points. And this is how you make sure that your information gets shared as it should. But equally, this is also how you make sure that in an interview, you are representing your brand at all times. And by the way, folks, when I'm talking about interviews, I'm not talking about like when you're going to pitch for a job. I'm not talking about that kind of an interview. I am talking about the idea of when you're showing up on a TV show, when you're being interviewed on a podcast, when you're being interviewed even within a magazine article. And yes, that can actually happen. But also specifically when you're also showing up in things like authored spaces as an author, or even when you're having an interview on stage, whatever that may be, have these 4 key things that you always want to make sure that you're touching on, or touching base on, that always make sure that you represent your brand in the best kind of way. So number 1, think about what it is that you're doing, who it is that you are as a brand. What are you representing, your business or you're representing your personal brand? Number 1, figure that out, right? Once you have figured that out, now what do you do? Based off of what you're doing, please make sure that you're at least representing 3 of your values, or even more specifically, represent at least 3 up to 3 of your beliefs. Because here's why. You imagine you're in an interview, your questions are being thrown at you left, right, and center, but you pick on a question that allows you to answer in a way that really emphasizes the fact that you know your stuff, and that really emphasizes the fact that, you know what, with this response I'm giving, I'm representing my beliefs and I'm representing my values based on what it is that I do and really why it is that I do it. When you do that, you're adding a next level to your interview, because not only are you creating very interesting content, but you're equally creating valuable content and relevant content. Content that will allow your interviewer to understand that, you know what, this person is bringing some good stuff to the table, and maybe I'll invite them back if their platform calls for it. But even more specifically, I know my audience is going to be getting good from it too. When your interviewer understands that, the conversation keeps rolling and conversation never drives up because of that. Because they now get that you get your craft even more so. It positions you. And not only does it position you, it also adds to that authoritative tone that you have, or even authoritative level that you are at. So use these values, use your beliefs, the reason why you do what you do, based around your business, based around your personal brand, whatever brand you're representing. Based around that, use them to help construct your answers in a way that will also not help you to forget as to what to say. So I don't know, folks, if you've ever been in that position where you've had a bit of stage fright or you're just frozen in an interview when questions come at you, right? It can happen, but this will ensure that that does not happen, because you're going to have these things in the back of your mind at all times. Okay, so number 2, I touched on this a little bit just a minute ago, the idea of your beliefs. Your beliefs, really, your values, the reason why you're doing what you're doing, it all kind of rolls into one, really. So you got a 1 for 2, 2 for 1. And based on your beliefs, again, this is now where you bring a little bit of emotion into the idea of your interview, whatever question is being asked for you, of you. When you throw in your beliefs or the reason why you're really doing what you're doing, that aspect, right? You then get to throw in and level your interview up even more, an anecdote or a story that you can actually back up your point. Back up your point. Whatever point that you're making, make it relevant in a way that allows the average Joe who's not in your world of craft. And what I mean by that, for example, my branding side of things, that's my world of craft. But I know that the average Joe does not get branding, does not understand the nuances that are included, does not understand the language that includes within branding. So I give them stories to help them to understand. It could be a story from my clients. It could be a story from my own past experience. It could be a story from anything that I've seen on TV or a TV show, for example. And there are many, many ways about doing that. And I will share a video about the different types of stories that you can actually share as well, based on your brand, so long as it's suitable to your brand. But the key is, folks, to always keep it relevant to what it is that you're doing so that people start getting it. Okay? So that's number 2. So number 3 is this part. And it's something that a lot of people actually just tend to overlook as well. So pulling from the idea of using an anecdote or a story from your past or whoever's, whatever story you find relevant to the question, the interviewer's question, why not throw in a fun fact as well? And fun facts can include statistics. It can include a did you know moment. It can include the idea of, do you know what? It frustrates the hell out of me that there are 1,001 different businesses out there not even touching base on what their brand is about. But if they only realize that their brand can actually help to elevate them and help them to understand how to stand above their competition and keep rising, they pay it a hell of a lot more attention than what they're doing right now. That's a fun fact. But equally a fact that is of relevance to my point, right? So what is your fun fact? What is your statistic even? There are so many statistics out there that you can actually go ahead and research to find out about your craft, to find out about the specific point that you actually want to make. Now, key example, I won't throw the numbers at you right now because off the top of my head, they've gone. I'm going to be honest about that. However, I did, depending on when you're watching this, not too long ago, I actually did a talk. And in this talk, it was all aimed at the idea of female leadership and how the fact that female leadership, specifically of women of color, is lacking. It's sparse, and it is, it's an annoying struggle, and it's an annoying thing, right? That to think women of color in leadership roles are still being viewed as the anomaly and not the norm. Now, if you know me already, you would have heard me spoke on many a platform talking about the idea of, 1, representation matters. That's always going to be a message that I'm always sharing on in an interview. But 2, you're always going to understand that, you know what, based off of that information, there are literally fewer women of color in leadership roles than what there should be. And that annoys the hell out of me, folks. Now, many, many reasons. Discrimination. It could be race, it could be lack of representation in general and not understanding it. But equally, it can also be down to confidence. Confidence because people have experienced negativity along their journeys. Confidence because people have experienced the type of thing that somebody's spoken negatively about them in their ear and it's stuck with them, right? It's annoying. It's a frustrating thing. And again, equally, folks, this is something that I always talk about in interviews as well, as a little key point. What are your beliefs? What is it that makes you annoyed? What is your fun fact that you really want to share and throw out there to an audience who you feel will definitely listen and understand that point? Think about that one. And number 4, now this last one. So again, you'll be surprised at how many people will leave an interview forgetting about this particular part. And it's something that if you actually did it, you'll be surprised on the intake following on from your interview. If you know me as well, or the people that I work with, my business partners, as well as anybody that I work with, anybody that I speak to, always have this in mind, because when you do have this in mind, you get to understand that, you know what, the work that you're doing with this, in this interview right here, right now, isn't just that. It's now going to continue on from it. All because you've addressed the point of a CTA or a call to action. Now, here's what I mean by that. A call to action can be anything from offering a guide, offering, when I say guide, offering a guidebook or this checklist or something like that, or a lead magnet, a lot of people will know it as. It could be inviting people to come and watch them on another platform, maybe a webinar or a masterclass or a workshop that you're hosting. Maybe it's also a case of, hey, just follow me on my socials, on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. Whatever the platform may be of your time, whatever the platform may be that is of relevance to you, invite them to it. Don't just think that you're in the interview, you're going to share your message, and you're going to get a truckload of people coming to want to work with you, or a truckload of people coming to want to find out even more about you. It doesn't always work like that, folks. For those who does work with it, amen to them. Do you know what I mean? But if you want to increase your chances on people finding out a little bit more about yourself, include a call to action. Now, I mentioned the idea of sharing a lead magnet. You do have to ask the interviewer's permission, if that is okay to do. First of all, please always ask the interviewer's permission. But equally, do your due diligence at the beginning, before your interview actually happens, and ask your interviewer, can I share a gift? Lead magnet, a way of getting in contact with you after the fact, and then some. So really think about that, folks. And on the idea of making sure that you get additional information, here's the information that I want you now to have. This is my gift from me to you. And I want to make sure that when you click on the link that's in the description box below, you're going to be taking the advantage of all the information that I'm sharing in a guidebook that's literally included within that. So when you click on that link, you will be asked for a couple of details. It will literally take you less than a minute to fill in. And more specifically, what you're going to be getting is a guidebook fired at you in your inbox directly. So please make sure that you go ahead and check it, and equally check your spam folders or your junk mail folders, whichever may be for yourself. Get the guide, download it and read it, and understand that this information will help you to level up even further and understand how you can start getting noticed as the brand, the noteworthy brand that you are. Now, there's a little thing here, folks. I know as much as I'm saying this, you're gonna say, yeah, Tan, no problem. Thank you very much for that. All good. But when it comes down to it, are you going to read it? I hope that you do. But if you don't, and you're that type of person who has a truckload of guides all stacked up within your inbox or your downloaded folder, do you know what? Do this next step for me. Go ahead and just book a call with myself to understand how you can actually take yourself from where you are right now to literally where you want to be, but equally what you can do to make sure that you get yourself there, because it is so important to not stay stagnant. It's important that you keep moving. Now on this call, it's not about you and I having a great little chit chat. No, it's all about making sure that you are moving forwards. When you book your call, you're going to be asked a few questions. Please make sure that you fill out your questions with the answers that are specific to you and your business. Specifically, more so that we can maximize the time that we're spending on this call, okay? Now, I'd love for you to go ahead and do that. And before you do that, please make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel. Share this channel as well. Share this video with somebody else who you feel that could really, really resonate from this. And folks, I will see you on the other side.